Hello everyone, this is Meher Saleem and welcome back to our biology class. Today we will learn about population size and the certain categories I have divided it into. The first major category is population. What is population? It is basically a group of organisms of one species living and interacting in the same area at the same time. If we talk about population in biology, it means that we're talking about a single species. For example, the human population. And human population or any population may change and vary with situations. And in ideal situation, population increases in size. And there are certain factors that influence population changes that include food supply, predation, diseases, etc. Food supply is vast, the growth is vast, and so the population size increases as breeding takes place more. Predation and diseases, the case is total opposite. Predation increases, population size decreases. Diseases increase, population size decrease. Because if predation increases in a habitat and less offspring are produced to replace the prey, then a time lag appears and thus the population size goes down. Diseases, as we know in this era, we are facing not just an epidemic, pandemic too. When epidemic spreads globally, it's called pandemic, which is COVID-19 that started as an epidemic in Wuhan and now is a pandemic all over the world. Well, moving on. Population growth. 20 years ago, human population increased 2% a year. And if human population, according to the above statement, was calculated, we would realize that the human population, the world population, was doubling every 35 years. And that might not seem so much, but it is a lot. Well, if we talk about population growth, two views are considered, the traditional and the modern. The traditional view says that the population growth is limited by famine, disease, or war. That's not just the case and is contradicted by modern view, which says that population might be affected by these things, but not always. There are many other factors which limit population growth. For example, infant mortality and life expectancy. Infant mortality is the death rate of children less than 1 year, and life expectancy is the expectancy that how much a person might live. If infant mortality is high, population growth decreases. But if life expectancy is high, it increases. So we can say that infant mortality is inversely proportional to population growth, whereas life expectancy is directly proportional to population growth. Moving on, there are certain factors that affect the increase in size of human population, which are increase in life expectancies and reduction in the death rate. 4 reasons are there which influence above factors. As you know, the life expectancy, what are life expectancy and death rate, mortality rate, basically. What are the 4 reasons? The reasons are longer and better education, better living conditions, agriculture in cities, and application of family planning methods. Longer and better education. Married couples are educated and know how to plan their families. Better living conditions. When better living conditions are given to a family, they do not they do not go for longer bigger families, they go for small sized happy families. Agriculture in cities, when it comes to farmer, they have a lot of people in their families, they reproduce a lot so that people might help them, their kids help them in their work. But if the better resources are given to them, they won't produce such offsprings. Fourth is the application of family planning methods. They might be natural or contraceptive methods, and they might be divided into different categories too. The graph here shows that the human population has been increasing rapidly in the upcoming years. Stability and growth. What is stability and growth when it comes to population? It means that the fertility rate and the mortality rate, they are equally high. They are basically equally high, and if we compare the developing underdeveloped nations, we would realize that the stability and growth in developed nations is much more than developing nations. The food production is more in developed nations than the population. But in developing nations, we can see the underdeveloped nations, they produce less food and they are more populated. So if we study the ideal cases, we would recognize that each region needs to grow more food or reduce its population until the community is self-supporting. The second measure is sigmoid population growth curve. As we can see in the graph, there are four phases, and the S-shaped graph, the sigmoid graph curve, is explained by these four phases. But for this purpose, we would first need to know about population growth, that there might be no stability in each habitat, and there might be a wide variety of individuals such as juveniles, larvae, eggs, or seed. But for study purposes, we just simplify them into four major phases and certain certain less complex creatures. Okay. The fourth phases includes the A, B, and C, D phases. A phase includes lag phase. The first phase, as we were saying, were lag phase. The population is small. The number might double, but at each generation, but the increase is not that significant. Second phase includes the exponential phase, the log phase. There, the population tends to grow and doubles, and specific logarithm coordinates are produced, and that might seem not much more, as the population of 4 doubles and it's not more, it's just 8. But if we go for a population of 10, 24, and then it doubles, there becomes a competition. The population, each and every organism comes to a competition of food, growth, and survival. The survival of the fittest, that phase sets in this phase. Okay, the third phase is the stationary phase. Resource will no longer support an increasing population as expected. Obviously, the lot of population growth and the resources are less, so the limiting factors come to play. We will discuss them later. The fourth phase is the death phase. The mortality rate is now greater than the reproduction rate, as there is the survival of the fittest now, and few offspring will live long enough to reproduce. Now, as we were talking about the limiting factors in the stationary phase, there are certain factors that limit the growth of the organism and thus are called limiting factors, which include abiotic and biotic limiting factors, predator relationships, and competitions. Okay. The fourth major category includes communities and ecosystem. What is community? Community is basically, it is all of the population of different species in an ecosystem. For example, human population, the certain plant population, animal population, they live together and they form a community. And now, what is an ecosystem? What is an ecosystem? Ecosystem is basically a unit that contains all the community of organisms and their environment, and they interact together. So as we know, the environment in which an ecosystem sustain is made up of different communities. We'll go on to the summaries. Now, if we talk about population, it is individuals of the same species. Whereas what are communities? Communities are population of a single species and population of other species. And what are ecosystem? And thus a community is formed. Now, ecosystem. When community along with its non-living part of the environment combine, they form an ecosystem. Here we can say that when population combines with other populations of the species, it becomes a community, and when a community combines with the non-living part of the environment, it becomes an ecosystem. So today we can say that we learned about different things: community, population, ecosystem, and a sigmoid curve. I hope this lecture helps you in your studies, and we will meet you all next time. So till then, see you guys, and don't forget to like, subscribe this page, and keep watching so I make my videos more, and keep telling me what I need to add so we can meet again soon next time. Okay guys, see you, bye.